guys, and welcome back to One Life. You join me today on a lovely sunny day for another tutorial on the Yamaha Aerox. If you can see me, I can't see you guys too well. Today's video I'm going to show you how to remove and replace the throttle cable. Dead common job as they snap all the time on these mopeds. It covers, you could probably say it's the same sort of thing for most motorbikes and mopeds. It's quite a universal part. Let's have a look at the throttle cable and how you get it off. Alright guys, the throttle cable. So as you can see here, this bike's already quite stripped down. Ignore all that because you should be able to do this with minimal plastics coming off. You might have to sort of loosen a couple to get to things. The worst thing's going to be for if the cable's sort of tied anywhere on the frame behind the plastic. If it's loose, you'll be able to undo it and pull it straight through. I'll show you how to get it disconnected at both ends first, and then we'll have a look at it. For this end of it, you just need to be able to get to the back of the throttle here, and you can see there's two Allen key bolts. See that one down there? Light's not very good. And there's one up here too. So what we're going to do, we're going to undo those two slightly first, and the cable down here, we'll take that off once the throttle's off. Using a 4mm Allen key. Loosen these two off. So we've split the actual throttle assembly, and it comes in two parts like this. Ignore that plastic falling off, it was loose, I just put it on anyway for the video. So the bit which your power switch is on, that sort of dangle on the wire, there's no harm in that. And then as you can see here, you've got the throttle itself still on the handlebars with this cable sticking through holding the rest of the sort of plastics on. You just sort of get your finger behind it, or a screwdriver if you don't want to get dirty. As you can see there, it slides straight out, releasing that. Now, there's a Phillips screw on the bottom of the throttle. You'll undo that and we can release the cable now and pull it all out of this plastic bit. That's then this end of the cable completely free. Just need to disconnect the other end and find a way to get it through all the plastics. Right, it's a new day again. But carrying on, I've pulled the cable out of the back of the throttle assembly. Put that screw back in there just for safekeeping for now. Put that to one side. And that leaves you just with this on this end. So this is a tab of metal there that holds it onto the back of the throttle. And the end of the cable itself, so all it's in good condition. You want to make sure it's sort of nicely, a bit greasy, or if it is really dry, get some WD-40 or like my AC90 and spray it down that gap there just to fill the cable up with a bit of lubricant, keep it smooth. Now it's the engine end. Now if you've not already, you're going to need to take the seat off for this. I do explain how to take the seat off in, I think the first Aerox video I did, it's the how to check for spark and compression, so I'll put a link to that video now at the top right of your screen, and you can click back to that video to see how to get the seat off. It's quite simple, it's just a few screws sort of in the corners and a couple up here. But once it's off, it will reveal the top of your carburetor here, and it's quite simple. You should be able to get to it without taking anything else off. It's just this bit here. So you're gonna Phillips screwdriver, PZ2 or 1, this is a 1. 2's work a bit better I think. And unscrew that. Not to lose your screw, it's an important screw out so don't lose it. Now pull this out carefully and just be aware of the needle for the jets. You don't want to sort of bash that end on anything and flatten it off because it will affect the way it runs. Just be gentle with it, don't bash it about too much, especially on metal. Right, now you can see here, I can see pretty much all this cable on its way up. Now there is this bit, I'm not sure if this is standard. Please, if you've got an Aerox, and I know there's a couple of you watching that do, please check this because this enables the cable to split up, which make it a lot easier to get out. So if this is standard, someone please let us know, because then if it is, we can simply pop this out, because there's an access thing in your plastics around here somewhere to get to that. I think it's for this reason, so you can get the cable out without taking half the bike off. So if you've got one of these, get a little flat screwdriver and just ping the cable out of that groove there, and then from the handlebar end you should be able to basically slide it out, and from the engine end wherever it lands, see if you've got it down here, you should be able to pull it back this way and pull it out in 2 halves. I'll just sort of test that myself now and we'll have a look. Right, got both of the halves out now. It did split. I'm pretty certain that is a standard feature. So if the cable is standard and not an aftermarket one, it should split like that, enable you to pull it out quite easily. If you have got one full cable, what I'd recommend doing is all this plastic sort of pan here that you put your feet, you'll see there's loads of little screws in it all the way up on both sides. Just take as many screws out as you can see, but don't pull it all off, just enough to loosen it and get an hand in, and you know, find where a lot of the time it'll be cable tied up here somewhere. The throttle cable will be sort of, you know, clamps in with some sort of tie, which will stop you from pulling it through. But most of you should have this where you can split it. They've got the half here, that's the bit that goes into the throttle end. It just comes up to this split, and then the carburetor end up to the next split. Now I'm just doing this video for the purpose of showing you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease up the cables as best I can. So do all the ends sort of thing, and also, like I said before, go in, find any little gaps where you can go into the cable and spray it down it. Grease it right back up and get it back on. So for refitting, I'd say best to do is to find the sort of gap in the plastics that come out of up here, which will be somewhere around here. And then you're just going to literally feed the cable back in and just push it down. And also, when you're putting the cable back on, make sure you check your lock, full left and right lock on the handlebars. Make sure it's not snagged on anything, you can still turn it. Now the engine one's going to be a bit harder, because ideally you want to feed this end through your hole in your plastics first and back through. It'll be a lot harder. So I think the plastics come to about here, don't they, somewhere, so it'll be a lot harder to feed that back up. But you're going to think, what about this end? So I'm going to show you quickly now how to get this slide off. It's fairly easy, to be honest, it's just a bit fiddly. But the slide itself, and you see there's the end of the cable in there, and it's on a spring. If you can press that spring without moving the cable slides into there. So you just need to compress the spring, pop that silver bit out the top of the slide, and then once you get this silver bit onto the outside of the slide, let it come back down this groove. That's why the groove is there, and it'll pull off the end. Just careful not to lose your bits. You'll be able to feed the cable through a lot easier there, guys. Right, I hope you found this video useful. That's it from me today. It's how to remove and replace the throttle cable on the Yamaha Aerox 2009 model. Pretty similar for most mopeds and motorbikes, things like that. So if you found this useful, give it a thumbs up. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, peace.